It's a review of all of our past episodes. Well, not every single one.
You messed up already.
The past 5 episodes. It's a philosophy recap. Mike, tell us about the ocean. Would you believe 2 seasons?
Yeah, when you make each season 5 episodes, their time really flies, dude.
I mean, it's 5 weeks. Come on, each of them is an hour, basically.
Yeah, imagine. That's 13 hours of content.
What? Oh, well, but yeah, 5 hours content for the last season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, 13 hours of content, technically. Tell us about the ocean. I am Austin Andrews.
I'm Mike Kemp.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about the things we did, what we learned, Mike.
The horrible things we've done.
The pain, the suffering, the irony.
Yeah.
The despair, too. It's going to be great. All right. So, Mike, without thinking, what are you thinking about?
No. I'm thinking about I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how you are a very, 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 very bad audience. I'll tell you why you're a bad audience. Because you haven't checked out Area 22 Productions' Patreon. That's patreon.com/Area22.
Does it make him bad?
Don't worry about it.
You're bad.
What do you mean?
Oh, you made a bad show. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Everyone's well and good, but that Patreon, check that out.
Jesus, yeah, definitely check it out.
Please?
Definitely. I recommend it highly. It's a wonderful service.
Did you donate to the Patreon?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Donated my prayers, my love, and my tears and blood and sweat.
We should probably lead and start just donate some money.
You first.
Okay, I will. Think I won't? It's easy.
Okay. Okay, so philosophy recap. First thing we did was fascism, and I believe the 9th episode. After that we did intersectionality, nationalism, globalism, and the nation state, and the Book of 5 Rings. That was a dive episode.
No, strangely, the fascism episode was actually quite popular amongst those.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it was a more interesting topic, or we did something right. I'd say it was probably a little more interesting than intersectionality.
Yeah. And last thing we did was, in my opinion, one of the best ones we ever made, Irony and Despair. Which is funny that we like...
No, I think that was the worst one. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so what do you think all those things have in common, Mike? You want to see the list?
Yeah, let me give me a little gander, you know.
Yeah, have a look at that. What do you think all those have in common? Because I can think of some things.
Nothing. No, I'm kidding. Oppression. I'd say the oppression of fascism goes, fascism and intersectionality. The oppression really is obvious.
Yeah.
Same thing with nationalism in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the Book of 5 Rings and Irony and Despair, you might be questioning why those would be. But I feel like it makes sense because just having to if you ever have to fight, you're clear something's being oppressed in some manner.
Yeah.
I guess, unless you're fighting for fun. And then Irony and Despair, you could easily be oppressed by your own emotions. So I'd say a common theme is oppression.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there, Mike. Oppression, the oppression of the individual upon himself, the oppression of the state. Just like, how do we deal with all this oppression? How do we deal with like all this? I mean, not to be incredibly intersectional about it, but like, how do we deal with being genuinely held back? Sometimes genuinely, sometimes ingenuinely. But how do we deal with being held back? And I guess, I guess it would have made more sense if we did the Book of 5 Rings before we did Irony and Despair. But like, I think the Book of 5 Rings kind of reflects a bit on that. Mm-hmm. The Irony and Despair kind of nails the coffin.
I think every topic we did is just like a way of dealing with the oppression.
Yeah. I mean, you can be fascistic about it and leave it all up to the state, like what your decisions are going to be. You can be intersectional about it, and you can basically catalog everybody's oppression in terms of like where they stack up in the scale, I guess, with I guess white, able-bodied, cisgendered, whatever's being at the bottom of the oppression scale, and then Jesus. Here's a really good question that like somebody brought up to, I guess, an intersectional philosopher. Would you rather be black and ugly, or no? Would you rather be white and ugly, or black and beautiful?
I'd rather be beautiful no matter the color.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. Like, okay, so it kind of just topples over your entire sort of idea of like the black people, like blacks are oppressed no matter what, because you're literally admitting right off the bat that there are some things you hold over.
Oh yeah, like
skin
more
color.
attractive people generally do have an advantage, no matter the color.
Not to sort of bash intersectionality, I guess, because I do want to be sort of impartial to like all the philosophies, but like I mean, that's another thing. Like you have to be careful when you are taking the time to measure like all these sort of modes of oppression and dynamics.
I'd say another common trait is that each one, like you were saying, how you don't want to pick it apart. Each one could be easily picked apart.
Yeah. The Book of Five Rings, I mean, the fact that we have to struggle in this world, the fact that we have to gear ourselves for combat, it's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yep.
Like, I mean, the idea that we have to be ready for almost anything. I mean, like, the thing is, isn't it crazy how, like, we live in a society, isn't it crazy how we live in a society that, like, for a large majority of your life, you're not going to be, like, your main sort of schedule isn't going to be really deviated from? Like, you're going to go to work, and you're going to come home, and you're going to go to work, and maybe you'll have some weird things in between, but...
How was school, honey? Fine.
Exactly.
How was work? Fine.
Because it was just fine, you know?
Oh my god, yeah.
That's a legitimate answer, because it really was just fine.
It was the same shit, different day, lady. Tell it to your mother or your wife. It was the same thing as every other frickin' day. If something spectacular happened at school or work, I'll make sure you know.
So that's oppression by prosperity, then? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that, like, I think Jordan Peterson put this pretty well. Under normal circumstances, we'd all be buckled over backward with our frickin' spines arched in extremely obtuse angles, malnourished and scared at literally everything. I think he was what he said in, like...
If what?
Under normal circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this isn't... Like, this prosperity that we have is nothing short of a miracle, and we still feel oppressed. What does that say? It says that, you know, you always have to be... You always have to have a really solid grounding for your life. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, you can't just be on easy street all the time.
Exactly.
At least something's gonna kind of bug you, at least.
Exactly.
Like, you have the greatest day of your life and stub your toe on the way to bed.
Yeah,
And like, ah, fuck, this day's ruined.
And then with Irony Despair, we talked about irony culture and how it's like a... Okay, I wish I had the paper with me, but like, the article that I looked at, like, put it really well. It was like, it was spawned from just a culture with too many choices and too many... It came from too much choices and just abject prosperity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense, dude.
So it's the oppression. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. Like, there is a mode of oppression in every single facet of existence.
Yep.
But I guess another thing that I would add to that is that I feel as if they all come together they all are sort of answers to the world, you know? They're answers to, like, this main question, like, what do we do with each other? You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's a kind of a depressing idea that we have to deal with each other, but we have to. You know, we can't just, like, sit around with amongst one another and just be like, hey, you know, nothing, everything's gonna be okay, because...
You don't know if it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Plus, like, all that morality, I'm sorry, but it's like a luxury, you know?
Yeah.
We can afford it. You have to be able to afford it if you want it to exist. So, some points. What makes a nation strong, Mike?
A nation strong?
Yeah. And besides the obvious reasons, like a strong military, I guess, but how do you get that strong military?
I'd say, like, not even that. What makes a nation strong, I'd say strong is, in a sense where a nation should be concerned with, not just, like, physical power. It should be its culture. Like, I feel like a nation that's more in-depth and in tune with its culture is probably stronger.
So even if that culture is... okay, so how about... Like, let's have two hypothetical states. One believes that... has a doctrine of murder that everybody follows along with, and one has a doctrine of peace, but basically it's just filled with people who are sort of unaligned with each other and, like, deviated and very, very, I guess, liberalized to the point where they just don't feel as if there isn't much of a reason to participate in each other's lives.
That's the point. That strength isn't meant to be... Like, might doesn't make really right. It's just... it doesn't mean to. It's not moral. It's not something like being strong. Really, just means that your ideals are set in stone and you have the ability to act them out, and nothing would stop that from happening. Like, let's say a bunch of people wanted to change your worldview. If your view, even if it was bad, was strong enough, you prove its strength by not letting it happen. That doesn't necessarily mean that your strength is good or deserves to be there. It just means you're strong.
That was extremely profound, Mike.
Really?
Yeah.
I should get my degree soon.
It's in the mail.
Oh, good. Harvard University.
Gee, Harvard's like, what the hell, Mike? You're in.
I just got a text on my phone. It's like, you're in.
I'm in. All right. So, I mean, I would have to agree with you. You know, like a nation that is where its principles are clearly defined and everybody follows them at least to some degree, or incorporates them in the personal life. I mean, that's a strong nation.
Yeah, like, I think, and to determine, like, its strength, I would say you could truly tell if it's strong in that sense is if you take a picture of a country, like, let's say you took a picture between, like, America and, like, southern Canada, like Toronto and things like that, you probably wouldn't, unless you knew certain things, you probably wouldn't be able to tell a difference. But let's say you did, like, Italy and America or something, you could clearly tell there's a difference. Not to say that Canada or America is weak, it's just that we're not as potent with our culture, I'd say.
We're not sort of always, I mean, I don't even know if this is true or not, but you're saying, like, we're not always, like, up in front with it, like, saying that it is the better of the cultures around the world.
Yeah, I'd say America is, like, culturally weak, which doesn't make it a bad country. It just makes it like we're strong in different ways, but we're not strong in the way I feel like countries should really worry about. But then also, like, the thing with that, though, is then you'd be kind of dogmatic, and, like, if everyone had to have the same culture, you'd be fascist. So really, it might just not work for bigger countries. I feel like, I don't know. I guess you'd have to... I guess one way to make it an advantage for yourself would be, instead of looking at America as a whole, you take different parts of it. Like, New York has it has a clear culture. You wouldn't really compare that with, like, Montana or something.
Bagels in Texas.
You should really separate that into categories for it to be fair.
I wouldn't even say New York, honestly. I'd just say New York City has its own culture.
Oh, yeah. Upstate New York's nothing like this.
It's literally just nothing but open space.
Yeah, Long Island is a little different than the city, but it's close enough.
Wrong. Right.
This is the train, too.
Stop. Some say Miyamoto Musashi is still dead on the train to this day.
See, but that's our culture, but, like...
Miyamoto Musashi being dead on the train?
No. I mean the damn train, the Ronkonkoma. But, you know, it's just... That's a difference between strength for me. I feel like you have to be proud of your countries, and it's... being identifiable.
Despite its faults?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get into some really lovely slippery slopes like that in this next question. Is there such thing as human rights?
Yes. I'd say so, yes.
I don't think so.
Why?
Well, I think human rights is just something that we tell ourselves at night to somewhat feel better about ourselves, in all honesty. Well, because I feel as if... Not to say that you should treat people like as if they didn't have any sort of... How should I say?
You think, like, Mike could make right, and if you could clearly domineer people, you deserve to?
No, I'm not saying... My personal convictions determine that to be, like, wrong.
Yeah.
But they're not wrong because human rights exist. They're wrong because, well, for other reasons that I deem, like, sort of appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there is a universal sort of clause surrounding... I mean, there might be one for me personally, but I'm not saying that's something that everybody should adhere to.
You could say human rights are a crutch. You could say that obviously there shouldn't be such things like let's say like human trafficking, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you believe like it shouldn't happen just because human rights dictates, you could be setting yourself up. You should do it for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's clearly wrong.
Because I purport it to be it's an affront to the individual freedoms of the individual person.
I feel like if you call it it's a human rights violation, you open up the door to more questions. If you just say, because it is wrong and we're not having it, it'd be different.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Like, nowadays people think that pretty much everything is a human right, you know?
Like anything's a human right violation as long as it like hurts anybody in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's some people who would determine that like, well, you can spin like I believe there's a bill in Canada that allows you to spin the idea. Oh no, it makes misgendering people tantamount to a human rights violation.
Which is ridiculous, I'd say.
It's cheapening the idea of, I think, I'm not going to say genuine human suffering, hold on. I'm saying it kind of cheapens the word a bit, you know, because it's saying that, like, literally almost any action, even if it was just...
Like an accident.
Yeah, even if it was just an accident, which has happened before. I think the people have been fired for accidentally.
Yeah,
in
it's
America.
Kind of ridiculous.
We're not going to go extremely in on that, but, my point is that, like, we have to be able to recognize that.
I mean, obviously, you should just like. It doesn't take effort to learn someone's preferred pronoun. Like that's easy peasy.
Yeah, but my point is that like we have to sort of we have to take something from, I guess, the Prince from Machiavelli and say that, okay, like in the service of good, we might have to do some things that are genuinely bad.
It's just a double-edged sword with like labels. People. Like, you don't give them the right label, they use a different label to defend themselves. Like, you don't really need these labels. Just be who you want to be.
Like, if you look at the current state, like they say the UN, like the UN's kind of a joke. Like, they haven't done anything productive in anywhere for a very long time. Like, China is still violating human rights, like, constantly.
But then, like... The thing, you just said they violate human rights.
But what I'm saying in that case is that it just proves that you can't unify the world under the guise of human rights.
You can't.
It has to be unified under some idea of principles. And like just saying that every human has a set of rights, it's unfortunately not feasible. You have to like dissect each one of those rights that they have. And
they deserve to be treated equally, yes, but if they don't, it's gonna happen.
Like, you know what I'm saying, right? It's sort of putting this sort of universal blanket on these extremely complicated ideas that people don't really understand.
Not everyone's born equal, and that's humanity's fault. It's not yours. Like, it's not the person's who's, like, not equal, and they could easily become equal. And the fact that they're not being treated equal from the get-go is, like, regrettable, but it's just a rough world.
Yeah, it's rough. And you have to... One thing that... Well, before anything else, I think we should recognize that and understand that... because of that, we are equal in a sense.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's true too. Like anybody could be subjected to anything technically.
Yeah. And it goes along the lines of oppression, like you said. Like there is a set. There is suffering in the world, and a lot of people are gonna spin it like, oh no, there's also like there's also happy things. It's like no, you're totally missing the point. The point is that like, even if you were like in a stasis tube. You know, you weren't suffering. Yeah, even if you were in a stasis tube and like, literally, you didn't have to move at all or anything. The fact that, let's say, like you have to push a button. The fact that you have to push a button is not just done immediately as you say. Even think about it. Even the fact that you have to think about it, it means that you have to perform work, which means that you have to undertake some level of suffering. Like, let's say everybody was in complete and utter bliss. The fact that I have to move my arm to grab my mojito or whatever.
What if you like doing that, though? What if you like to move your arm?
Well...
Or press a button?
How would you... Well, why do I like it? Like, why do you think I would like it?
I'd say because, at least for pressing a button, there's a clear satisfaction with pressing a button.
No, but that's like the end result, though. Like, why would I love the initial action of having to do it?
You have to. It's just a bodily function.
But am I liking the action or am I liking the result?
If you like the result enough to do the action, you're not really suffering. Unless if it gets obvious to a greater point.
Well, I guess my point is, like, is the journey... I believe that suffering comes from the journey, but you can bypass the suffering of the journey by recognizing the reward. That's what separates us from, like, say, wolves, who will, like, literally eat until they can't eat anymore, basically.
Yeah.
Like, we're able to bypass the initial suffering of the journey. Well, I'm just repeating myself at this point, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I still think that I don't think that necessarily, even if you enjoy doing it, I think the reason you enjoy it is because of the end result.
The end result, yeah.
And I think that the pathway to it is still suffering. Like, I feel, like, I mean, like, say a basketball player, he loves basketball, but, like, it's obviously physically straining on his body.
But there are a lot of people who do activities that have no clear end goal, but they still do it just because they like it and they want to keep growing. Like there's a thing
well, the end goal is what I'm saying is like is the euphoria.
Yeah, like collecting dolls, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know why I use that as an example. It's a very creepy hobby.
Well, I mean, I guess the suffering is that you can't like put up a painting there or there. I don't know. But anyway, moving on. Why should you strive? Why should you strive to make your country a better place, and when should you not?
Well, you should, just so your children, if you want to have children, which you should, honestly. Don't look at me. If you want them to grow up in a better place, you could either try to make your own country a better place, or you could move to a better country.
So what you're saying is that you should invest in the future.
Yeah, you should. Even if it's not for your children, if it's for yourself. You don't know where your country's going to be in the future, nor do you know where you'll be. So you want something to lay back on.
Imagine,
like socks, for example.
Imagine in the fallout shelters they're going to be playing this to teach the populace how philosophy was.
Well, that's obviously different. If the apocalypse happens, then it's fair game.
But I'm saying, like, imagine in the future people are going to be showing their children this podcast so they can learn about the philosophies of the world back when it used to be.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to abandon philosophy in the far future.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like I don't see. Because look, we're already in like an immoral world as it is. I mean, it was obviously way worse before, and that's when philosophy grew about. I don't know. Maybe there could be a resurgence if the world gets truly bad again.
I think it's already resurging.
It might be.
I think that, like, take the intellectual dark web. Like, people, like, they sell out their venues. Like, the intellectual dark web, all they do is just talk about, like, stuff that we're talking about, kind of. But they're a lot smarter than we are. Like, they sell out, and nobody has an answer to what they're talking about.
Yeah, but I feel like if you get too smart on a subject like philosophy, you just become pedantic.
Yeah, kind of. All right, so invest in your future for if not for future's sake, then for maybe your children.
Your children, yourself, your dog, I don't know. Whatever you want to friggin' do.
Whatever you want to do to justify your existence, but you should invest in your future.
Yeah.
All right, race and the nation state. How do we deal with it? I guess let me break that down.
Is there anything to do about it? What's wrong with it?
Well, let me give you an example. Should the nation state have a component of race to it? Like in Europe, a lot of European nations are pushing back against like the idea of like mass migration from, I guess, the third world by saying how we want our countries to remain, our respective race.
I do understand that like completely. Like I don't think. I feel like if your culture's strong enough, though, it should be able to still last. The only thing about refugees and all that is like a country doesn't always have the capacity, both morally and physically, to even have them. Like some places just shouldn't. There's not every place is a safe haven for people. Like a big reason why I personally didn't think it was a good idea to have them here is because I don't think this is a good place for them. This isn't like we don't even treat our own people as well as we could be. So why would we take on more? There's other places. Like this isn't a safe haven. This is America. This is like a rough place. In some places, it's not rough. It's not as rough as a lot of places, but it could be rough in different ways.
You always have the.
You can't generalize it. I'd say is the big danger with our home. Like, no two places are like a lot alike.
Be responsible with your population, basically.
Yeah.
Be responsible with the native people in your country, and be responsible with the people who want to come in.
Although you could also circumvent all of this with culture if you just if people were more willing, both like on any side, like not just one. I'm not singling out any one culture. It's every culture. If cultures were more willing to accept other cultures and sort of actually blend together, not just have all right, those are those guys over there, we're here, they're close, but whatever. If you actually intertwine cultures into one Earth culture, that would be a different story.
Globalism,
yeah. Yeah, like good globalism, like everyone's actually getting along and sharing and accepting. Like
the United Citizens Federation and Starship Troopers.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everybody's a citizen.
But if you're going to go to a new culture and overtake their culture with your own, you kind of wasted a good opportunity. Same thing with like if a people came into your culture and you pushed their culture onto them and made them assimilate, you could have been wasting a good opportunity.
Do you not think some cultures are better than others? I mean, I personally think that there are some obvious tells as to say like one culture being somewhat better than the others.
I wouldn't say better. There are some that are obviously like more vibrant though, like more like engaging and fun. Like I'd rather, like I'm not gonna say anything like I'd rather do this or that. But, like there's some cultures where like friggin' giant robots are a part of the culture. That's pretty badass. I want to be on
Japan?
that. Yeah, Japan, or something, or America too. Actually, they had a giant robot fight recently, and America won, which is nuts. USA.
I'm like missing this. What? When did this happen?
I think last year they actually made like primitive kind of mechs or something, and yeah, America won.
American Steel.
Like people don't realize the future is like freaking now.
Future's now, old man.
Like this is the future. Like honestly, you're legitimately starting to see like flying cars exist. They're not like widespread, but they are there. You have a freaking touchscreen just in your pocket that you could look up literally anything on this God-given earth. Like this podcast, for example, or our Patreon. Like
Area 22. No. Well, Area 22. Patreon. Just whatever. Go on.
Patreon/Area 22.
Patreon.com/Area 22.
Yes. Okay. You know, all that stuff. It's happening now. Yet there's still no cure for cancer, which I think is complete bullshit.
You hear about there being something every single day, but like I think there's something they have.
There's something they have. How often do you
People
hear...
are beating cancer all the time, honestly.
Yeah, but like how often do you hear of like a celebrity dying of cancer? Like you hear about sometimes like the real top level ones, so you often don't, even if they had it.
Oh, but anyway.
Like Magic Johnson having AIDS for like ever, but he's perfectly fine.
But anyway, so yeah. Race and the nation state. Well, I suppose it didn't really answer race and the nation state. We just talked about culture, but
well, no, it's the nation state we more so tackled.
Yeah, well, but I guess bottom line is that I think the best thing for everybody is just if they. Whoa, hold on.
Before you freaking get this whole establishment burned down, think about what you're gonna say.
No, I think that I think it would honestly be better if we had. Well, let me think. I think it would be better if everybody had the ability to, well, assume a level of prosperity that allows them to like create their own fully fledged nation states.
How the hell would you do such a thing?
No, I'm not doing it. I'm just saying, like, I think it would be better for the world if every society in a way was.
But there's like no borders.
Well, no. I'm saying like if every society was successful enough to where like their states were clearly defined and they just didn't really have a lot of issues that made it so that they necessarily needed to just move. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could, like, the only reason why you would move over to another country is, say, to experience their culture, to learn from them, or to say, like, go to university. Maybe they have better universities than you, who knows? But I'm saying, like, I think it would be better, honestly, if we... Well, there's a song by R.E.M. It's called "Stand." It's I think it'd be better if everybody stood in the place where they lived. That's the literal line. And then what he means by that is make a difference in your home. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Now I can understand.
Like revolutionize rather than run away.
Yeah.
But some people are clearly outmatched.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's very obvious, and it's kind of arrogant to say that you should just make your home better.
I think the thing stopping us from doing what I said about making like a whole globalized colony is that there's no other races in space for us to compete with. Like I feel like if there was a lot more like people in space that were close to us, we'd be more so worried about what their culture's like rather than
what are their
ours.
memes like, dude?
Exactly, dude. What are their memes like in space? No, but it's a good question. Like, imagine when America first, not just America. I don't want to be that much of a jerk, but like all of like the world starts colonizing outside of space. Do you think that like Earth will finally get its own friggin' one culture, while like other places like get their own? Because then now something's completely different.
You know what's funny? There's this game called Civilization Beyond Earth, and they took the hold on. It's so funny. They didn't take the time to flesh out any like alien cultures at all. You know what they did? They just made it so you and a bunch of patrons from the Earth colonize this one planet, and you know what you do? You just fight each other. It's basically Earth again.
That's also possible.
It's Earth 2.0. It's the funniest freaking thing ever. All right, unfortunately, we might have to miss some things.
Pick the best thing.
Why should you be active? Let's like sum them up in like really short terms. Why should you be actively improving yourself right now?
It's fun, and it's good. And you don't want to be a freaking gigantic fat slob who does nothing all day.
Or just a or just a neat.
Yeah, a neat. For those who don't know what that is, which might not be. Well, I don't know. We're young, but that doesn't mean our audience is. A neat is someone who's not educated, employed, or in training. Someone who's doing literally nothing with their life, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Why are they even friggin' being scrutinized? Why should they do anything?
You weren't. It's like you said that one episode. I forget which one. I think it was Stoicism. You weren't asked to be born.
Yeah, you weren't asked to be born.
All right. Why does art matter, Mike?
It's pretty. It's pretty, and it gives science and math and all that. I think they entwine. I think you need, it's just a way to express yourself in a way that's not those two things.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's just a way to express yourself at all.
Yeah, I think
otherwise we'd just be robots.
Well, I think that art is just the way that we sort of make our mark in the world, for one thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's how we sort of...
Because math and science are always there. Like, those are things we learn about. Art's something we made ourselves. There is no art in the universe. Well, art's subjective.
Well, I think it's how you project
a screenshot of my face right now could be art.
I had a really good idea. I think it's our most inexplicable thoughts given form. Like, it's something that art is just something I feel as if you can't necessarily explain. Like, it's so subjective in a way.
Yeah, it's like man's ability to make a subjective thing rather than objective.
That's another insanely profound thing that you just said.
I'm on a roll. I'm sorry.
What is the true cause of the world's suffering?
Waiting in line at Six Flags. Am I profound still? No, I'm kidding. Oh yeah, the DMV. I think waiting is a good actual answer. Waiting sucks and no one wants to do it. And not everyone can put their time to good use.
So, but why do you need to wait? Because you need things, right?
Yeah, and you just can't get them all the time.
So would you say that needs and wants are the cause of suffering?
Wants are probably the cause of suffering.
Well, why not needs? You need water. If you didn't have any.
Oh yeah, you're right. Needs and wants. So like you have water and I don't. I'm being oppressed.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting a message from God. Water, please. God? Water?
Yeah, we'll talk about God in the next episode.
Yeah, sure, but hold on. God, yeah, there we go.
See, I got a full bottle of water. That's how the big circle in the sky keeps on turning.
Exactly.
Wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
All right, so my thoughts. We're going to talk about my thoughts now.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about your thoughts.
Hopefully the IRS doesn't come, but...
oh my God.
But we're going to talk about my thoughts. All right.
So do it.
All right, hold on, jeez. I'm waiting for... Where's my motivation?
Do it right now or you're not going to do it at all.
All right, so here's my thoughts. We should be actively treating the evils of Nazi Germany, right, as not a case of evil rearing its head to the world, but as a window into the very soul of all humanity. Evil has no race or nationality. It is found on the surface of every face, and to invoke it is a simple act. The reason it is not so simple is that deep within ourselves we know such acts to be wrong, but not because we are in ourselves good, but because most of us have not fallen so deeply into wretched despair and felt selfish arrogance. We all must imagine ourselves capable of horrendous feats of evil, and be eternally watchful and introspective, always standing against the great acts of unfairness, and skeptical of anybody who declares themselves the ultimate savior of the downtrodden and solemn.
See, you got a big advantage because you got to write all of that before the show started, and if you asked me my thoughts, I'd have to freaking come up with it on the fly.
What are your thoughts, Mike?
I agree. Evil could be in anything or anybody. Even the oppressed could be the true evil, for all you know. Imagine. I don't know. That'd be nuts.
Well,
like, has there ever been an example of people being oppressed because they've done evil? Like, I guess you could say, like, the people who, like, they deserve this oppression, obviously, but, like, some people who were Nazis were, like, killed after the fact. They, in my opinion, obviously deserved it. But that's still oppression. But that makes oppression in and of itself not truly evil, because some things might just deserve it.
It's another profound thing. Sometimes it's justified to oppress those who have done evil in our society. Is what you're saying, kind of?
Yeah. What the hell? The water bottle was 15. There's only 5 minutes between the water bottle.
Don't worry about it. That's how the circle in the sky, like you said, keeps on turning.
Wheel. The wheel of fortune.
Sometimes I've been. What's really euphoric for me is watching those really insane Wheel of Fortune guesses, where it's like one word, and then the guy's just like, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, wow. It's like boy. One R. It's literally at the end at the end of the sentence. And then it's just like, I don't know, something ridiculous, like freaking Omega.
Beer?
What? Beer.
That ends with an R.
I like to answer beer.
Yeah, that's it. What do I win? Beer. Dude, I go for I don't like drinking. Drinking's bad for you boys.
But all right, so
boys impossible, girls possible.
So that was I think that's it, really. Well, no, let's keep on going with that. So I guess that's the kind of the reason why we created a legal justice system. It's because we realized that there has to be an organized way we can oppress people who do things wrong.
Yeah, see, aren't I just a friggin' prophet for doing such a thing for you? We got a whole new topic now.
Oh, legal justice system?
Yeah. I hope I don't have to experience that anytime soon.
No,
this is made of wood. Oh, it's freaking styrofoam.
What'd you think that was made out of?
I thought it was wood.
You really?
There's a tree right here.
It's fake.
Fuck.
Jesus.
Oh, well, I guess I'm going to prison.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're probably the freaking.
This is wood. There we go.
Yeah, I guess. But the British police are out right now about to arrest us for thought crimes anyway.
Didn't the British police like take their guns away, so like they're powerless in case someone has a gun? I remember seeing a video. A guy had like a knife, and the patrolman had nothing, so they were like running around him. They didn't know what to do.
The British police are having some issues. That's to say.
We might alienate our UK fan base.
No, if the people who I'm thinking about in the UK are watching this, then they definitely agree with us.
I hope my waiter at my diner is watching this, because he's British, and whenever I go there, he shares how much he hates his home country at the moment, and then he'll talk shit about he'll talk shit about America after, and then I'll be like, oh man, this place sucks, but it's even worse over there. I don't know where to go.
It's you know it's so funny. Remember, I don't know if I should talk about this on air.
Don't. We're already probably pushing the limits just talking about what we've been talking about.
No thoughts allowed.
Stop saying that.
Thoughts.
No thinking allowed. No fun allowed.
But if I've already thunk, then I have a thought.
A word?
Yeah. Then no thoughts allowed.
Yeah, you just stop thinking.
What's the threshold when a thinking becomes a thought?
What?
Okay, so when do you? Okay, so let's say you're thinking, right?
Okay, when
did your thinking become a thought? When you were thinking about it? When do you stop thinking about it?
I guess when you shit it out of your mouth.
All right.
When it becomes a concept, it's no longer a thought. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Me and my PhD in philosophy.
Thank you all for watching this season.
Yeah.
Seriously, we appreciate you all. What was your favorite episode, Mike?
This one.
Oh, I kind of like this one too. Definitely let us know which episode you.
This one, because I feel a lot better about my spells. Fuck it. You know what? I'll pick a different one now.
Which one?
Fascism is pretty good.
Nobody's gonna take that out of context.
Dude, I love the fascism one.
I don't know. I like the Book of Five Rings.
Yeah, I read that book before you did.
Miyamoto on the train to Ronkonkoma. To Ronkonkoma.
Miyamoto Musashi.
Miyamoto Musashi. He died in 2008.
Yep.
Poor guy. What a horrible year to have died in.
Wouldn't it be a great year since that year sucked? Wouldn't you rather die in the bad year than the good year?
I guess.
I don't know. I'm feeling really bleak.
Well, I mean, everybody, you should keep a stiff upper lip. You know, be hopeful of the future. Invest in the future. Invest in gold.
Yeah. What did I say the other day? Let the love for your people exceed the hatred you've ever felt, or whatever. Some shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm calling my own philosophy garbage.
But no, seriously.
Ironic.
I feel as if a lot of people like irony and despair as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, definitely let us know how we've been doing.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Please.
Leave $1 in the Patreon.
If the comments about how there was no Mike's Mysteries. Okay, okay.
There's one. We wanted this one to be a little shorter. We should explain that because it was a recap. Next episode, there will definitely be a Mike's Mysteries.
I can think of a mystery.
How often are you gonna wear that shirt?
If I can take the words from General George Patton, every goddamn night. No, okay, but no, I got a mystery. Okay, when we were driving here, there was an Adidas in the road. No, I was on the side of the road, but it was an Adidas in the side of the road. It was a shoe. Yeah, you can clearly see that it was really of the Adidas line.
We could talk about that gentleman we met on Saturday.
Oh, why didn't I talk? Literally just wasted like 30 seconds talking about an Adidas in the road.
No, it was an interesting philosophical because we encountered a gentleman in nature. He was just talking to us about nature. And it was he was a druid, and I thought it was nutty that he existed and was just talking to me about friggin' birds of Long Island.
Yeah, you can't.
Because I'm big on birds, and I took a few nature courses, so I know a lot of birds that live around here.
Personally?
Yeah.
Top 5 birds.
Great blue heron, great-eared owl. Wait, eastern greater horned owl, red-winged blackbird, osprey.
Ostrich?
Osprey.
No, I'm saying the fifth one, ostrich.
They don't live around here. You can't do that one.
Robins?
No, robins suck.
Falcons?
Red-tailed falcon. That's a good one.
Well, top birds in Long Island.
My top 5 birds at least.
Long Island.
Long Island.
But yeah, that guy was pretty nutty. He was
He was drinking at 8:30 a.m.
He whipped out a cold one, right? It wasn't even cold, probably, but he whipped out a cold one.
He whipped out a lukewarm one, poured it in a cup, told us about this place we could get CBD in our coffee, which I was actually interested in. We talked about birds and turtles and fish in a park, and then we left. But yeah, he was a druid. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Taught us how to survive in the cold.
Yeah, he did.
But you were dying.
I didn't have a scarf or a hat. I lost both. I was dying.
I'm morbidly obese and I had a coat on, so that was good.
But that was a really interesting. Like, there was a freaking swan who came over and barked at me.
Oh yeah, the swan looked at him and was like, that was cool.
He was like, "Hey yo, get away from me!"
That thing was like half your size. It could have probably toppled you over.
Yeah,
pecked your eyes out.
Jesus, imagine. All right, so tell us about the ocean, Mike. How you feel about this episode?
It was good.
I hope you all enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed being here.
My name's Mike Kemp.
My name's Austin Andrews.
Join us next week for our next season 3 already.
Yeah.
We've only been doing this show for 3 months, 4 months. I don't know.
Since yesterday.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
All right, bye. We're going down.
We're going down.
Right? Yep. No?